So here I am sitting outside in the steps at 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, drinking my coffee, relaxing. Yesterday was a very nice day. I went looking around for apartments, walk around, and it felt very positive. Not because, I was finding places and whatnot, but just because everywhere I walk, it feels very safe, very welcoming by people. And I am overwhelmed almost by how kind everybody is. When I was walking down by the river, you saw a little clip, maybe, of me walking down there, and the guy offering to drive me down on his motorcycle, even though he was carrying a cooler in the back, and he did, and he didn't ask for anything. He was very nice and said, "Oh, when I come back, if I see you, I'll give you a ride back." So I was, I don't know, a mile out of town walking, and then yesterday, it's like everywhere I went, people went out of their way to to be kind and helpful. I walk up and down the streets and I ask everybody, "Oh, do you know of a place for rent? An apartment, blah blah blah." And yesterday there was a guy that was an amputee, was on crutches, and it was in a mechanic shop. And I asked, and he said, "Oh, there's a lady right next door, two doors down, that her son rents apartments, houses." So, cool. So I'll walk you over there. I'll introduce you. So he walked over there. And you've seen the steps on the sidewalks here. You go up and down, up and down. So he was pretty quick with the crutches, but still, it wasn't like an able-bodied person just walking over there and taking 10 steps. And he introduced me to the lady, and she was a little old lady, I don't know, 80 years old. And I told her, what I was looking for, and said, "Oh, well, I don't know. Let me call my son." She said, "Come on in," and she unlocked the gate. All the gates are locked with locks, and she unlocked it and said, "Go ahead and sit down in her little patio." And it was a very nice patio. I found a really nice chair that I liked as well, so that was great. And then she went inside and came back like, I don't know, 5 minutes later after talking to her daughter or daughter-in-law. I'm not really sure which one, but it was like, "Oh, come on inside. She wants to talk to you on the phone." It's like, "Oh, okay." So I went inside, and I might have mentioned this before, but it said, it's like, "What are you looking for?" I told her, "So, oh, I have one available. It's $400. Well, and it's $400, but it's got a refrigerator, fully furnished, and the whole 9 yards." And I said, "Well, that's a little bit more than I'm looking to spend. I'm looking down in the 200 range or below." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I don't have anything like that right now, but leave your name and phone number, because I know lots of people, and I'll ask around and see if anybody has something, in that price range." I said, "Oh, okay, cool." So I gave it to the little lady, and away we went. But it was interesting how helpful they were, and not only that, but I had gotten the lady's name from two different people, like 2 blocks away. They said, "Oh, this lady around the corner has apartments for rent." And I had gone, knocked on the door. They told me it was a black gate, a black portal, if you will. So I knocked on it, and this kid came out about 14 or something. And I told him, and he gave me the number, and I was going to call her. He said, "Call her after lunch. She'll be there." And it turned out that was the same lady that this little old lady called. They were family, and I guess they own a bunch of apartments here. But it was just so nice how people are so friendly and helpful. Then another guy, I told him, "Yeah, I found a place for 400, but that's way more money than I'm looking to spend." And he's like, "Oh, I know a place that's a lot cheaper. Here they say, in Argentina, they say cheap, for a cheaper place. Here they say more comfortable." So he goes, "I know a place that's much more comfortable." So he walked me like 2, 3 blocks to this place, and he said, "This is the place. It's a 3 bedroom, but it's empty right now, and the lady's not here, but she'll be here in the morning." And so, "Oh, okay." So I chatted with him, and then I ended up giving him my number, and we had to go borrow a pencil. He didn't have a phone. He said, "I'll give it to her, tomorrow morning, and she can call you." I said, "Okay, well, if she calls me, I'll be happy to come by. I'm not that far away." So again, he walked 3 blocks out of his way, took the time to take the number, and hopefully he'll give it to her. But it's just incredible how pleasant and helpful people are all the way around, and that is a marked different from a lot of places I've been where people look at you with disdain half the time. I'm not sure why exactly, but I think they're unhappy in their own life. But so that is pretty cool. That is a a welcome surprise. I mean, I came down here because it's a lot less expensive and obviously cheaper to live than the United States, and I can walk everywhere here, which is great. I'm walking 1 to 3 miles a day every day, so that's a good thing. Buenos días.
Buenos
¿Cómo
días.
le va? But the fact that people are so friendly and helpful, it's fantastic. Trying to get used to some of the things I just don't understand. The words are different, but beyond that, that's the nature of the beast of traveling. I mean, hell, even when I went to Louisiana, to do cable work up there with Pablo, the language was somewhat different. I mean, it's still English, but it's like totally different. The slang and even the words that they use every day and the accent, it was hard for me to hear. And I think part of it, for me at least, is because I'm already a foreigner. I speak Spanish. English, sometimes I have to pay attention to catch it, and I'm deaf in one ear on top of it, which doesn't help. But aside from that, just the intonation of the words, I have to pay attention. And here, the Spanish, everybody talks so softly because they're what's the word? They have so much humility that they talk quietly, and it's like you have to speak up so I can't hear you. But other than that, it's not a big deal. So yeah, it's definitely a wonderful place, and I like the fact that you can see here, we're in the city. I mean, it's not New York, obviously, but it's a nice place. And yesterday when I walked, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile through that other neighborhood, Barrio. And they're divided into quadrants, so there's like 4 different neighborhoods, within a half mile of each other. And it was all paved and nice and all houses, and then one block was basically a dirt road. And then after that, it was a great big field, and you could see the beautiful hillsides all covered in trees and houses a little bit farther away, but mostly it was just tree forest, not jungle, but still. So that's pretty cool to be able to just walk half a mile from here, which I'm a mile from downtown Leon. And Scott Miller, Scott Allen Miller, the guy that I've been following, that I learned a lot about Nicaragua from the United States, he said that Leon is the second biggest city in the country, but it's not the second biggest metropolis. There's other towns that are not quite as big as this one, but they have a lot more cities around, and this one's an isolated city. But there's some really good things going for Leon, as far as I can tell, for me. One is that you can take the bus to the beach for $2, and I can't stress that enough because that is wonderful to me. Be able to go down there, in the morning and go for a swim in the ocean and be back here by 12 or 1, or have a fish lunch like we did last time with Mikael, and it was $4. It was very nice, cooked to order. They actually bring the raw fish and they let you choose which one you want because they have 3 or 4 different kinds. So that's pretty nice. And another one that is a huge thing for the population in general, and also for expats that might be coming down here, is that they have the biggest, newest hospital in Leon. It's just now beginning to open up. Some wings are already open and some are still under construction. And it has 2 or 3 universities as well. So there's a lot of students. They rent a lot of student apartments or rooms closer to downtown, but they tend to be small and just for students, But overall, it has a lot of wonderful things going for it. And once I get a motorcycle, I'll I'll put a 12-volt plug so I can charge my phone when I'm driving, like I did in Thailand, and then start cruising around the countryside. But for right now, just concentrating on walking around, get some exercise, and finding an apartment. But yesterday, the fact that I found one, it wasn't quite my price range, but I found one, and several people gave me leads on other ones. Like I'm feeling pretty good. It's like things are happening. And sometimes I think I don't know if I mentioned that when I was a realtor, sometimes I didn't have any work, and I would start scrambling, to find some jobs, start calling people, say, do you want to buy, do you want to sell, whatever. And there'd be a period where nothing happened for 2 or 3 weeks, and then after 2 or 3 weeks, I would get a listing, or I would get a couple of listings, and then one of them or two of them would sell, and all of a sudden I had to find houses for those people, and then I would have one or two other listings that popped up. So within the space of 3 or 4 weeks, I went from not having anything to do other than prospect to find customers to being so overwhelmed because everything is time sensitive in real estate that I was working 16, 18, 20-hour days for 3 weeks straight. And then when they closed, it was like, okay, now everything is mellow, you know. So, and I have the feeling it's like this. It's like the cresting of the wave, The wave gets really big before it crests, and then it all comes crashing down. And I get the feeling that things are brewing in the background, and they're going to come to fruition here pretty quick. But let's say prayer and a hope. But that's kind of the feeling I get. So, anyway, I'm enjoying life here. Hopefully, I'll get a place soon. The first one that I liked, was nice. It was a 1 bedroom, and it was really well put together. Nice neighborhood. I think 2 blocks from the chicken bus to the beach, which is a big plus. The second one I looked at, it's 2.5, 3 times as big as the first one. A little bit more money, but much nicer, and it has a huge backyard with a nice covered patio that's like 15 by 15 or 15 by 20 or something. And who knows? I don't know which one will actually come. The lady said, okay, I'll get the paperwork drawn up, but everything here takes forever. And in the United States, when I was a landlord, I'd be like, okay, let's get together at 3 o'clock. I'll have the paperwork done, and they would come at 3 and sign the papers, and I give them the keys. Here it's like, well, mañana, I'll let you know when it's ready, and then it takes forever and a day. So until I actually find something where I have the keys, I'm just going to keep looking, walk around. It's good for me to walk around anyways. I mean, I enjoy it and see different parts of the city. And it's amazing how different it is from one side of the street to the other side of the street. There's like I forget how to say the word. Anyway, the streets are the borders of the neighborhoods, and even though you're on one side of the street, it's totally different on the other side. I remember when I owned the fourplex in Portland, it was on one of those streets, on Ainsworth, and no, not Ainsworth, what was it? Prescott. And on one side was Alameda, which is like really high-end, beautiful homes, and on the other side of the street was basically the ghetto, and they were very different. And it's like you could walk safely all day and all night on one side, and on the other side, you took your chances. I mean, I walked it all because that was my job, and here it's not quite so dramatic, the change, but it is very different. Same thing in Palo Alto, where I lived, in California, on the west side of the 101. It was like really high-end $1 million homes now, or 2 or 3 millions. And on the other side, East Palo Alto, you had to be inside most of the time because there were shots being fired all the time. So I think that's pretty common throughout the world. But here it seems much more so. I mean, there's 4 neighborhoods that are very distinct, all within, I mean, you could walk from one to the other, any one of the other 3 or 4 within 1.5 miles. So pretty cool. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. And, well, I'm going to continue having my coffee in my morning, and I will chat with you later. Please go ahead and feel free to share or like and subscribe so you get the updates on all the things. A lot of people ask me about medical stuff and about apartment rents and this and that. And a lot of it is on the videos. So if you scan the videos, you can find a lot of that information. My channel is geared more towards the normal folks and not the rich folks that can pay $1,000 a month rent, which is no big deal for if you're retired and paying that in the United States. Here, you'll get the houses like 4 times the size or 5 times the size for that same price. So, anyway, have a great day, and I will chat with you guys later.